right, we're good.
Okay, it just has to load the Zoom, there we go. Okay. Okay, so meeting called to order at 6:07.
So just so I know the next time, where are these Zooms generally coming from? So I keep an eye out for it.
Let me look after and we'll do that offline, okay?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I don't miss it. I'd like to be here. 'Cause
Yeah,
I like to
I'm
see you.
not sure what it says on the email that sends them.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so now let's see, we want to new share. Okay, does everybody see the
Agenda?
These are
Yeah.
the meeting minutes from
the
last,
minutes
yeah.
from November 8th? We can review those and see if we have a motion to approve. Who is
I'll do
taking minutes, by the way? Laura, you're good?
Yep, I'm on it.
I should have known that.
Thank you,
Um,
Laura.
Motion to approve the November 8th minutes.
I second it.
Okay. So stop share and you guys, are back to that. Share. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this review of vacant positions and pending appointments. James Kropensky, town clerk, is trying to coordinate this, but he's got all of the boards and commissions sending in information from the various Democrat and Republican town parties, and he's still in process. So I can't say where we're at, other than I did have an email exchange with Beth, and she said, once we know, I think everybody that's on this wants to be either continue or renewed if their time is up. Is that accurate? Everybody that's here today?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Carol,
And then Beth will add in Andrew officially and Sophia officially, and we'll take recommendations and appoint them. So hopefully we can get that done by next meeting. It's just that we need that input from James as to who is actually official. Yes, Rick.
I'm sorry. We do have, I just want to put up a point of order really quick that we seconded the approval of the minutes, but we didn't actually take the vote. So all in favor of approving the minutes from the November meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Nay. Okay.
I'll abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay. All except for one aye and one abstention, and the minutes from the last November meeting are approved.
Thank you, Robert.
I just didn't want to give James.
No, we want it to be official.
Yes.
Okay, so we're good at moving on from that till next.
So Carol, we're just waiting for more information from James regarding,
What he's trying to gather is the time periods of all of you that are still serving. And
Okay.
does that mean we have to, some of you are serving and your time is up, but we just need to have Mayor Beth do the renewal. And then once we get all of that, that'll tell us how many vacancies there actually are. And they have to compare that to, so that they have, there can only be one more than half in each party.
Okay.
So they have to compare the composition, and then Beth will appoint the vacancies. Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready, whenever.
So let's see. New share. Okay, can everybody see this ledger?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this gives the history back to 2011 of the ending balance in June, the revenue that we took in and the expenditures. And I'm gonna fast forward to the last few years. So you'll see that in 2019, we didn't take anything in revenue. 2020, nothing in revenue. 2021, nothing in revenue. So that's where, so our balance at this point is 4,354. So we had enough to carry that with the scholarships that we did approve. Last year, you'll see there's only 500 in expenses. We approved 2 scholarships, but only 1 person followed through with it. So I have to look at that. I don't know which one, and I will look at that. Does anybody have any questions about the ledger or the revenue or the expenditures?
Do we get donations from somebody, or how do we get money?
The money has typically come from the Hoopla fundraising event that we
Okay.
did.
Mhm.
We weren't able to do that. Was it 2 years?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
because it was
I think-
2020 and 2021.
right.
Okay.
So that's, so this kind of impacts our future things on the agenda of other fundraising ideas, given this COVID knocking out our typical hoopla and the scholarships. But I just, while we're here, if anybody has any questions.
So my question, and I guess it's more for you, Carol, is about the scholarships. With receiving payment in the past, I believe we had communicated directly with the universities. Is that the option moving forward, or do we want to issue checks to the students?
Let's, I think that's probably the next thing. So let me close out of
Okay.
this and get us back into share screen. Okay. Okay. Oh, well, so we did fundraising ideas, and then the next one will be that. We can jump ahead if you want, or we can just do the fundraising ideas and then do the
We can-
scholarship next.
We can do fundraising ideas first. That's
Okay.
totally fine.
So I'm not sure where folks are with that. The floor is open to you all. We talked about doing the videos as a competition.
Yeah, I think what we had on our November meeting, we said maybe 3 ideas in 3 months where we do one. And again, I think with just how COVID is, I think, again, not doing the normal hoopla, I think doing maybe 1 month, I think we were saying March, April, May. March, we do the video submission of jump shots. April, we do something, and then May, we do something else. And
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. Laura, we had it down.
Yeah, so I think I'm looking at the minutes from the last meeting. We had March create a trick shot, so submit a video. April was a halftime feature at one of the basketball games.
Oh, that's
And then
right.
for May, we put down an outdoor event, which might be possible because it would be warm out and the restrictions are a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I think we anticipate, looking at South Africa's numbers, there was a peak, and I'm sure I know the variants will likely follow this peak as well. So I'm not going to assume anything here with this, but I think May will likely be a better option, particularly with outside. I think transmission will be lower, but knock on wood there on every front. But I think that might be where we could still do something outside, and that leaves us again more room. We were thinking like juice. We plan something a month in advance, or we announce something a month in advance. So like March or in next month, and we can have
We
solidified
finalize for the month.
plans for March, and then March we announce April, we announce May, which gives us time to solidify the April and May. But I think the March one's pretty easy in terms of we can just be able to say, hey, submit a trick shot. Laura, we talked about using a Google Drive that can just submit within like the schools Google Drives, if that's a option. And then I think we could use, students and Jacob Trowbridge or whatever the graphics come from the students, if that's okay, to create a flyer, and then we can award something. I think it's more of what the prizes are, or something like that.
Yeah, and we could do something too. I'm thinking of like a foul shot competition with a time. So you have 1 minute, how many free throws can you make? And then we would just have to set parameters. Like the camera needs to be in one place. It needs to be one continuous clip. And like, could you have someone rebounding for you? Sure. How many people? One person, or whatever it is. That might get kids to that might get some buy-in from kids who want to compete, I guess. And then we could almost have like a dashboard where we put like submissions. So like Laura Blanchard hit 40, oh my God, this would be unbelievable, 40 free throws in a minute. And then
we know you can do it, Laura.
Yeah, feasible, Laura.
anything is possible. So then someone sees that and they're like, oh, I can beat that. So they start trying to beat it. We would just have to, and then it's how specific do we want to get? Do we want to say like it needs to be done in a gym? Or could it be at an outdoor hoop if you show like you measured the appropriate distances? We could have hoop height for different age brackets. Something like that. That might get kids to want to, because hoopla, from what I've heard, kids loved playing in it. But I also remember when I was at the middle school, when the fifth graders would talk about it and talk about like wanting to make a team, like there was that competitive aspect of it that made it a lot of fun for kids. Whereas like the trick shot would be great too. I just don't know if kids are going to, I feel like
it's a more subjective competition, certainly.
Yeah.
Right. And then like some kids might not want to necessarily do that. I feel like more kids would want to do like free throws or some other type of basketball related competition.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Well, I think maybe we could do both. Like you could do an easy one. I think the possibilities are endless kind of with this, but I think one of the things, logistically, it's more of like, we could do whatever. It's more of the logistics of, okay, how are we going to house these? Who's going to be in charge of what? And as well as I think one of the key details is like how we accept money was one of the points where we just weren't sure if it could be like a PayPal thing or whatever. Cause I think $5 entry is like not a big,
We do have PayPal set up at this point.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So if there's some way we could set that up, and then, I mean, I think $3 or $5, and then you could get students and staff. We could have just different sections by age for 3 free throws, different sections by age. If you want to do a trick shot one, there could be less entries, with that, and do side by side, or we just do the free throws, maybe do like grade category. And then like, I think one of the things you mentioned, Laura, was like having teachers involved with it too. So like you could have a staff dashboard as well. Just like that, I think would get more people involved as well. Like kids seeing their teachers do free throws or trick shots is always in my opinion, a fun time.
I could name a couple high school teachers and staff that would want in on that. So
yeah. Andrew and Sophia, do you have any ideas or input on that? Good or bad? These ideas stink or not?
I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, what I was hearing was pretty cool. I'm not like a huge fan of basketball or anything, but I think like the trick shots and stuff could be pretty cool.
Could we do a combo where we have the, how many in a minute and then a trick shot? And that way, if it was a tie, the trick shot kind of gives us the edge of breaking the tie.
And then the other thing I'm kind of thinking of also is, because you see all the videos on like TikTok, and there's that whole like the dude perfect. I know it's kind of antiquated, but does it necessarily have to be a regulation hoop, or could it be like a little type hoop that you had when you were a little kid, one of those little basketball hoops that you hang over a door? Like, I think
Absolutely. I think it
if
adds
we just-
humor.
yeah. Could it be like are we going to require it has to be a basketball, or could you use like, I'm thinking like a ping pong ball? I've seen a whole bunch of stuff online where like it's almost, I'm blanking on the name of those machines where one thing happens.
Goldberg.
Yes, almost like something like that. And we can have like categories, because we do want to try to cater to like kids that are just looking to do something to have fun with it. Like Andrew said, like you might not be super into basketball, but might want to do a trick shot. So I think we can be more lax in like allowing kids to be creative and just have fun with it. I would hope no one would do like a trick shot in a pool because it's winter, although that might get some points.
Steve, I know you have to go, so do you have any thoughts, or I don't want to rush you?
I'm doing okay. All I want to say is it's got the simpler the better. I mean, right now our lives are complicated enough. We don't know who's going to be in school, if we're going to be out of school. We don't know what COVID's going to be tomorrow, what COVID's going to be in the morning. It's crazy.
Right.
So if we're really going to try to plan something, and if we want to do it 30 days out or whatever, 1 month at a time, it's got to be so simple that everybody says, okay, let's do it. And, and I don't know, because my brain doesn't go where you guys are going. And I think it's awesome. You don't want your brains going where my brain goes. But the only thing I just want to stress that I think with all of these things, the simplest, the quickest way you can explain it, and this is how you do it, is the best way to go. Because if you get too many people, too many options, you could do this, you could do it from here, and you can do it from there. And if you want to do it, it's too difficult for people to grasp all that. That's just the way I see it. I'm a big believer, especially that this is our first year not doing hoopla. I think we need to pick a specific way to go, whether it's one way in next month, one way the month after that, or one way, because I think people need to know that it's very basic. Okay, I do this, and or if it's a video, I just need to do this. This is how I do it, and it's submitted by this date. That's all. And again, like I say, that's my mind doesn't go the way you guys are going. And if it's doable that way, I just don't want people to lose such focus with so many different options that as a result we have less people take part. One thing about hoopla was, after doing it all these years, it was a no-brainer. What are we doing? When do we do it? Who's going to be there? Charge the door. But we don't know. We don't know if we're going to be able to be in school or out of school. So that's my only concern, is that Joe Blow just goes, hey, let's do this. But you don't have to be, I don't know, you don't have to be really creative or something. I don't know. I mean, I just want it to be something that's simple enough. Does that make sense? I hope so.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, Steve.
If you give too many people, if you give people a menu like Cromwell Diner, you don't know what you're going to have. But if you give them a menu that has 5 different options of what are you going to get to eat, you ain't going to know. So I just think it has to be next year. Who knows where we'll be and how much more? Yeah. We have to have the base right now that we can build off of since hoopla. Okay, this year do this. That's all.
So Steve, I love that idea of simplicity. I think that's going to this year especially give us the biggest bang for our buck. What if we did, I feel like we talked about this, either teachers will use it with kids, like they set up a tic-tac-toe board, or sometimes it looks like a bingo board. And in each of the squares is a challenge. So if you want to participate in this, you pay $5 to get your board, and then your challenges are all set up on your board, and you have to show evidence of achieving the challenge. So if we did a bingo board, you could do like a row across. You can use all the different ways, and then once you get bingo, your name gets entered into a raffle. You fill out, you do another bingo, so now you get both diagonals. Maybe that equals your name goes in the raffle twice, and then we pick out a winner for a larger type award at the end, and all of the boxes could be basketball related. So one of them could be submit a trick shot video. So then they submit that video, and we could keep it super simple and give every, well, you wouldn't want to give every kid the same bingo board. Or we just say like it's going to be challenges of the month, and if you want to participate, you can almost like pay to play, I guess, if you will. Or the other idea I was kind of thinking of is how like I know our swim team does when they raise money, I believe it's for breast cancer, they ask people just to sponsor them and they swim laps. So you can pay any amount of money and then the girls swim. Lots of teams do it with a variety of different activities. I did it in college with rowing meters. So if we said, okay, if you want to participate, it's $5 or however much anyone wants to sponsor you for, and then as you hit different benchmarks. So if we do like free throws, once you hit, I made 50 free throws, doesn't have to be in a row. You are on this tier. Then once you hit 100, your name goes in the raffle once, and then 200, it goes in X number of times. So it's kind of, it's a basketball activity connected to a raffle. Then we could do like bonus things because I love the idea of like the trick shots and stuff like that. I'm just trying to think of like what would be the simplest way so that if a kid wants to participate and see how many free throws they can make, like it's $5 and you ask someone to sponsor you, and you are responsible for at a minimum making 50 free throws, or whatever we can talk about deciding. I don't know. I think we need to run with the idea of simplicity.
Well, what is, are we thinking that we won't be able to do anything in the school? Is everybody doing this on their own timeline, or, that's what I'm wondering.
I think like the idea originally was, what I was thinking was, I envisioned everyone who was going to be doing these trick shots could do it on their home video. The point was that we can't necessarily use schools, or everyone can't be on a team and use schools like we could Hoopla. So if we can't gather, we can have kids use their own driveways. We can have them use school property. We can have them kind of go anywhere, any hoop. Like I love the idea of a teacher, say middle-aged, dunking on a little Tykes basketball hoop. I think that's hilarious. Like it's so funny. But I think like with that, we wanted to foster not only student input, but community input, and be able to make Hoopla really, all ages. And that way you can say whatever hoop, whatever you have at home, whatever you have around, just do a fun shot or do free throws. And it's, shoot it, film it, send it. And that's it. Like simple, in simplicity's sake, shoot it, film it, you film it, you shoot the ball, you send it. And $5 to send it in. And then we give, superlatives for most creative, superlatives are super fun. I think you do it that way. That way there's not even necessarily a quote winner, or we can make it a winner and just say like, you get most whatever, we send them a nice certificate, and maybe like a fun little basketball or something. I don't know. And that's kind of it. But I think it gets community input really easy. And I think who could lead it is like a lot of the teachers and maybe even town officials, just like simple things where you see, oh, I saw someone else doing this. Oh, like that's a nice thing. And it's just kind of town camaraderie where we can say, look, we have these, like we could get a group of dads doing it or a group of moms doing it. I definitely know some swim moms who would absolutely embarrass themselves for it, and that just, I think, is like easy money. $5, super easy. Just film it, shoot it, send it.
Do you think it would open up? Go ahead. No, go ahead, Carol.
Are you envisioning one item or multiple, like Laura had suggested with the bingo? I'm thinking if we do multiple, maybe we do the tic-tac-toe, so it's only 3. Again, going to the simplicity. And I do think, Laura, what you said earlier about the competition versus just a trick shot, I think that appeals to kids in a concrete way. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's gotta be something that can be explained in 30 seconds or less, period. Whatever option we go to, it's gotta either be a quick explanation and make it real simple. Here's the paragraph, here's what you have to do. Not too many options. This year, everybody's gonna do tic-tac-toe. Everybody. You're gonna do it, you're gonna shoot it, you're gonna send it. If they don't want to do it, fine. But if we start doing too many different ways of shooting and filming and where you do this and where you do that, I just think the more we spread it apart, the more thought is behind it and possibly the less dollars. So, that's really what I look at. It may not seem as exciting and as wonderful as like to be, but if we pick one thing and every school or classroom wants to compete with each other, they say, well, Mrs. Johnson's class submitted, X amount of, whatever. But that way everybody will know it and be able to get it. Because even right now, I know we're brainstorming on a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it's got to be an elevator speech. This is what you're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is where you're going to do it. There are no options. If you give them options, we start to lose them. To say, this is how we're going to do it this year. And they're all good ideas, but I don't think there's any really bad ones. I just think the problem we can run into is if it's a lack of focus on our part, it's going to be a big lack of focus on their part. So for the simplicity of it, whatever we do, I don't care if we're making snowmen, whatever we do, as long as everybody says, hey, this year we're going to do this, this, and this. And maybe, is there a competition between grades? Is there a competition between schools, between classes? I think that's what makes it fun. It's kind of like, if you're in an office and everybody's got to see, who can do the most steps, and you're all saying, okay, I got to compete. I got to get the 6,000 steps a day. It's got to be so simple that everybody wants to be part of it.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if people could claim action steps towards making this happen. And I'm not technical, TikTok, basketball, like none of that is my forte. But I would be willing to take on, with assistance from some of our staff, reaching out for donations for prizes so that we could use for the 3 events. Are there action steps that other people see that they'd be willing to take on?
Well, maybe the other thing to ask right now, because it's a different world. What are people going to get more excited about? They're going to get more excited if is it TikToks? Is getting all the classes to do something with TikTok so everybody sees it all over the place? Is it?
So I would just, sorry to cut you off, Steve.
No,
I would be really cautious, and I was kind of thinking about this too. If our intention once the videos are submitted is to put them on a social media platform, we need some type of parental consent. And then the permissions and whoever is responsible for that account would have to closely monitor it, because I could see this opening up, just going down the wrong types of paths that we don't want as school administrators, any extra work. So it would just have to be something like that, would have to be closely monitored. But if with parental consent, or if if it's a high schooler, like they acknowledge that they want the video of their trick shot posted, making sure like comments and things and all of that stuff is turned off. Still, bad things could happen because
is there a way that the Youth Adult Council could have our own YouTube channel and they'd all have to come to us?
Would we have control
then?
I don't know about a YouTube channel. I know we can post videos on YouTube through the town, which is what we post these meetings on every month. So
yeah, but if everything has to come to Youth Adult Council, everything they make or submit or videos, and then we are the judges, let's say, then at least we know everything they're making is coming to one specific area. And again, I don't know if it's something, whether we do it through a town YouTube or we do it through a YouTube that we make our own channel. All you guys know how to, most of the kids know how to do that, I'm sure. But, you know, maybe that's something that they get all turned on about too. And we just have to have some sort of constraints on it so it can't go anywhere. I don't know.
This year, the invention convention was online only. That was something that was always at the Civic Center, and people got to walk around and see, or at UConn. But this year it was online, but it worked. The students, it worked out. The students, we watched, they submitted, there was a list of their presentations. They filmed it. There were directions on how to film it. And everybody did it and presented, sent it in, and then you watched it, and then you judged and sent in your top 3, 4, whatever. We could do it that way if we don't want to all get together. Depend, you know, or make that a default if COVID's bad, which is why they did it this time for the invention convention.
Would it be something where we?
Go ahead.
Would it be something where we would have all the classrooms submit one thing, maybe?
Could do it however you guys want to do it.
I just want to weigh in on that as well, because one of the things that has happened with Hoopla in the past is getting that kind of situation. I think teachers in classrooms and schools right now are pretty overwhelmed with everything. So to do that somehow adds something else into their mix of stuff, where it had been going to the phys ed teachers, and then they were kind of the point people at each of the middle schools. And that's how we made our connection in. And then the flyer information went out through the, well, they got handed out, and now most of this information is going out through the principals' e-letters that they send out on Fridays. I think these are all great ideas. I think even making it as simple, even simpler than what we're talking right now. I wish that we could see something live happen outside. I just think that the time frame that we have right now is also something we need to consider. That when we were doing Hoopla, as an example, we'd already have gotten information this week into the schools to try to prep for. And that was still information that even right up to the last minute, we were trying to get people to pay attention to what they had to do for the signups, for the registrations. I mean, right to the very last day. So all of those things, the minutia of the whole logistical part of this, the more complicated or the more elaborate we try to make this, the more of that kind of groundwork that's got to be done to distribute information. I think if we try to make it classroom to class, it's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. Because I think people will just, turn off. Whereas before, what we got was at least the kids would be invested in it because they go to their gym class. They connect to that phys ed teacher. And that is one of the ways we were able to make that happen in the past. So if we are going to go that route, or in some way try to do it, connect through that conduit, because the kids, all of the age levels, all connect in that one particular area.
I'm also wondering, as I'm hearing us talk, and Rick reminding us that we started in February for an April Hoopla event, then maybe we want to think of maybe 2 events, an April video contest of whatever it becomes, free shots or maybe one thing, and then a May outdoor event as our ultimate goal, but not, we'd have to play it by ear. I also put the ledger up just to show historically we were making about 3,000, 3,500 each year on this, which is what supported the carryover, the costs for the event, and the scholarships primarily.
Okay, folks, I'm sorry. I got to jump, guys. I got to go do something with the
Thanks so
mayor.
much, Steve.
Thanks.
All
Thank you,
right.
Steve.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Steve.
your input.
But I love it. I think it's great. But I just think, for this first year, I don't even know if there's something as basic as a virtual hoopla. I don't know. But
Yeah.
they're so used to hoopla coming around this time of year. Maybe there's a way to even hold the name, and use another
Yeah.
version of it. I just think people are used to coming into the spring and hoopla is going to happen. Didn't happen last
Yeah.
year. Hoopla's back, but with a new approach. That's all. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't leave the mayor waiting because we have to have it on our side. All right.
No, thank you, Steve.
Very
Thanks,
helpful.
everybody.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So if we put together like I'm stuck right now on the tic-tac-toe board and the bingo thing and had like different challenges within that. We could also do things like go to are there hoops at Mill Pond? There are, right? Or go to
There is a Churchill. I think
Churchill
it-
Park. That's where, yes, that's where all the kids will go. Go to Churchill Park and take a picture of yourself shooting a free throw. So then they do that and that gets them like one box. They can check it off. Then there might be another thing where they have to watch a clip on YouTube live streaming of a Newington High School boys or girls basketball game or attend a game in person. So they watch the clip, they take a picture of themselves watching it, or they actually go to a game, take a picture of themselves at the game, they get another box. We then like submitting a trick shot, that could be one of the boxes. And then off of that, because I love the trick shot idea also, it could be like an additional bracket of individuals or teams, because we can also put kids in teams to do this, that submit trick shots will be entered into a separate competition. And we could have, maybe we have each building principal vote on the best trick shot. So the building principals can watch all the movies. However we want to decide to do it. We could have kids design a basketball shoe and get we could email out or they can print out or draw, design a basketball shoe, and that could check off a box. So now kids who are more artistically inclined might be like, oh, here's something that I would be into doing. And then maybe just like the trick shot, we have another separate side voting competition for the best shoe design. Again, super subjective, but I'm trying to think of what would be easy where we could get kids to do things around town, because there was also a social part of hoopla too.
I feel like the bingo might be, that's just we're adding in more ideas and that might be more complicated, but
Yeah.
I think for the little kids, it might be a lot easier, parents would be willing to do the hoopla challenge, come do the hoopla challenge and blah, blah, blah. And this is what you have to do. I think maybe it would be easier if we don't even have to ask for evidence. It's just have them do it on their own. Because
Yeah.
it's just hard for them to submit a picture of this, submit a picture of that, submit a video of that, submit a video of that. I think that might get hard, but I love your idea of creating I don't know, maybe different things for different levels, but I know you could easily finish a hoopla challenge with a team of 3. One of them's an athlete, one of them's a creative, and one of them's whatever. And you have the month of April to do it. We could announce it in March. We don't have to do it in March. Could announce it in April, and then May we could, we'll put May as a tentative, but you could just do it I'm sure we could come up with it in one night of just whatever. The only thing you have to submit is the trick shot video.
Yep.
That way the
So
overhead isn't hard. You know what I'm saying?
You gave me a really good idea, Jess. If we created a hoopla challenge, I'm going to date my social media right here. It's not going to be Facebook, but an Instagram account.
All right.
And MySpace, but an Instagram account. And then if kids wanted to, so let's say one of the things was go to Churchill Park and play basketball, make a shot at Churchill Park. And a 3rd grader went there with their family and made a shot and they wanted their picture taken, their parent could upload it and hashtag it hoopla challenge. Or DM it to whoever's the owner on the account. So it's totally optional.
Yep.
That might also get more visibility from like the older kids who are looking at it as more of like a competitive standpoint. And then we don't own that. We don't own who's we don't own if people are commenting on individual pictures, but if we put something up on our page, obviously we would watch it. I'm kind of reminded of like when our seniors play Assassin, they have like the moderator of it has an account that everyone kind of will post the evidence to. So this will allow them to submit the evidence if they want. Otherwise, you pay your $5, you get your bingo card. We're trusting that you're going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Honest. in completing the challenges. Look at that. In completing the challenges. And when you get bingo, your name gets entered into the raffle X number of times, maybe like different types of bingos, like 4 corners, diagonal, they could have different amounts. And then we pull a winner at the end.
I'm just, as you're saying that, thinking instead of BINGO, could we do HOOP LA? So it's still 5 boxes like bingo, but it would be hoopla.
Yeah, that would work.
I love it. I
All
like
right,
that.
let me take all these notes.
So
High schoolers on the call,
any-
Sophia and Andrew.
Are we just talking insane right now?
Insight, ideas, feelings around that? Do you think that would work?
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Okay.
Sophia.
All right.
And we could also have it be like a $5 minimum entry fee, and then if families wanted to always give more, they always could.
Yeah.
Okay.
That means that somewhere in the information that we send out in a very simple flyer would also explain, what the money is being raised for and how this is, and that way, again, pretty simple, idea. And that way too, people could then also opt to just make the donation and not even think, I have to do this. And that's the other side of that, which is kind of nice, and make it as simple as possible. We just the very last year before COVID hit, we had been doing $5 per team of 3 players, which made no sense. And we $5 per person, which makes a much better idea. So I think we shouldn't look at the goal of trying to get that we're going to hit big numbers, but I think if we have a successful year with this year, and it catches on, then like Hoopla it would just continue to build if we found something that we could refine a little bit each year and keep, create another brand, if you will, for Hoopla, like Steve was saying.
So I wonder, are there any folks, I did an email saying, throw out a night that would be willing to spend a meeting dedicated just to this, to fine tune this, to present at our February meeting. Does that sound like we've got a lot of ideas, if we can flesh them out and have it ready?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to do that just to, focus and create the details.
Yeah, my ADHD doesn't always follow, so I think a more focused time to do all of it would be great. But I think we're getting there. I think we're narrowing it down.
Yes, great.
Sounds exciting.
I like the multiple challenges with the bingo / hoopla idea, because like you said, it will speak to somebody, like whether it's their creative side or their artistic side or their competitive side.
Yeah.
Athletic
I
side,
think to see,
whatever.
like, a lot of, if the parents can get the little kids involved too, I think like there's just so many the little kids, and they want to get them out doing stuff. So I think like that might be a good way to just get them outside, even if it's winter.
And doesn't bingo have like a wild card star? So we could have a wild card star, which is like do an act of kindness or something like that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that's a good idea.
so we can. Okay.
Yeah, I think that like espouses the values of this council as well. I think that would be nice.
So if we pick a night between now and next meeting, are Mondays good for most people? If we
Yeah.
pick a random Monday?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Oh. By the time I learn this, I won't have to do it. Oh, scholarship spelled wrong. Yikes. Sorry, all you educational people. Laura, this was your baby. You had questions on.
My only question was regarding payment to the students. And if we wanted to keep it like it was last year or change that to just issue checks at that awards night. Some go that way, others the checks are given after. And then the third way is that money is deposited directly into the student account at their college. That was my only question regarding the scholarship.
Yeah, I'm open to whatever folks think. This was set up 20 some odd years before my time and even Jessica's time.
Yeah.
Where it was paid directly to the college. I don't know if there's an issue around that with finance, and I can check that out. But if we have the ability to pay it directly to the student and folks think that that's how scholarships were given out when I was in high school.
I remember, I believe it was my first year, so it was the 2 years ago. There was difficulty with like the school receiving money.
Yes, there
Because
was.
of how it had to be like transferred. So if we could streamline it for the kids, I think that would be best.
Yeah, and I think also just nowadays, like a lot of the scholarships go to books and stuff, and those aren't always paid out of the student account. And
Right.
that can be hard sometimes, like if you want to use it on books and stuff, which, say a kid, doesn't need it out of their actual account, that's hard to access then. And I know, like, I've gotten scholarship credits, and then I'm like, where does this money go? And they're like,
Right.
well, we can't give it to you, and those kinds of things. And especially, say community college, and it's debt-free community college, and there's just all this how this works. I think if we, not that you need proof of what they paid it for, but I think, knowing how expensive books are these days.
Well, and I think we've already vetted the students that they're honorable and high achieving, and, certainly they're going to spend $500 or $1,000, whatever we decide it to be, on school related expenses. And I don't think we need to get proof of that. There's Duncan.
No, that's cat.
Oh, that's the cat.
Yeah. Yeah. Duncan is actually, I think he's sound asleep on the couch right now.
Any motions on that discussion? Any, thoughts?
Well, we're meeting again in February.
Yes.
What did we say? All right, I'm going to be meeting with student affairs people from Central next week. So why don't I run this by them and see how getting an award would affect financial aid? If that's, what are we talking, $100? It probably wouldn't be a big deal anyway. 200?
It has historically, at one point it was 1,000, and more recently it's been 500.
Okay, I'll ask that question.
And then I think we could, get some more information from our finance department about, what makes the most sense, or what actually works as far as how that money goes through from us to the student, and then be able to make more of a determination next month.
I certainly know that it makes it easier from the student end to be able to just get the cash, and from our end, because I can't tell you, it's I don't remember her name, but one of the female students from last year, that we had to go back and forth, and then her bill got paid in full. So then it was a lot of back and forth. So if we can do this, Laura, I think it's a grand idea.
Okay, so I will tomorrow touch base with Sherry Valenti in our main school counseling office, just to have her change that component to our scholarship application. That will say the checks will tentatively be issued to the students. I don't think it truly makes a difference until we pick the student anyway, but just so she knows kind of what we're looking to do as we issue the scholarships.
And then did you also wanted to determine, and I'll pull our balance up again, how last year we did 2 at 500, we have 4,300, and we're hoping to bring some more revenue in this year. Do we want to do 2? Do we want to do 3?
Did we try doing 3 back in 2019?
I don't believe so.
Okay, all right, so but we might have discussed it. I mean, I just remember that there was some talk. Maybe we stay with the same idea of 2 for 500, and hopefully we, hopefully we'll
16, 15, 16, 14. I think that's the last time we did the 3.
Okay, all right. So that was the change that we cut back on it. Probably because we saw a dramatic decrease in our revenues too for Hoopla.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's a little bit of a gamble, I guess, to know what we're going to actually have to be able to give away. But I'm thinking 2 scholarships for 500 each is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Okay.
Well, maybe we leave it at that, see what happens with our grand new fundraiser, and then
Yeah.
are open to increasing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. All right. I will update you after I meet with my central folks and see if they have any other ideas, things we can do.
Okay. And Laura, you can go ahead and present 2 at 500 because that's what it's been, and we don't have to vote on that.
Perfect.
Okay. Good.
Any update on this yet? PSA vaping update?
No, I'm very sorry. Steve and we had a couple of quick conversations, and he and I have both been like two ships passing in the day. So we'll try to be a little bit more aggressive on that before the February meeting.
Sounds good. Reports?
Well, I'll jump in really quick because I also have to run out soon. Is that we are doing our best given the elevated numbers in COVID. We have put out a brochure for winter, spring score activities, and we are doing our best to keep outdoor activity stuff. I've talked to a few of the folks who generally do some staffing with us, and we are just really mindful of what will be the how things will move forward with outdoor versus indoor activity over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. I'm kind of hoping that maybe we will have what we're now, I guess everyone's calling it the South African effect, which is that this thing plateaus and then begins to recede generously. We're very anxious to keep moving along with the students, and and really, I'm hopeful, cautiously optimistic, I guess is the way I put it today when I talked to a few people. But I know that I also keep looking at how many weeks away until the spring. Our 5th grade challenge program stuff is a little bit challenging because we can't get into the schools right now to do our activities. So we're looking for hopefully having our outdoor days, even in the winter, that are at temperature that we can keep the kids outside and then stagger them in and out of the wood-fired yurt to keep them warmed up and then get them back outside and climbing. And it's going to be a challenge, definitely. So we're looking forward to all that, and I'm developing all my stuff to go out to mentors for the mentor and training program for April, and getting our stuff on board for the summer of 2022, because I believe we're going to have another great year, and having the mentors even more so mentors of students who are going into the 9th grade from 8th grade, so that we got a nice continuous movement with that. And then trying to figure out this this fundraising idea. I'm anxious to see us be able to pull something off, because I'd like to have something going forward. So that's it for me.
Anybody else? Andrew or Sophia?
I'm good. Yeah.
Sophia's very quiet.
I turned the volume up on my computer and Rick just blasted me. Jessica or Laura?
It's got a BOE meeting on a Wednesday, going over holiday stuff again and fun capital improvement projects. But we're excited. We're gonna have actually a presentation by Jacob Trowbridge and Mr. McGoldrick and about the broadcasting classes. So very excited to have the public hear more about that.
Good. Good.
Newington High School is wrapping up the first semester. So the semester is coming to a close next week for students. A big change is that there's no final exams for year-long classes, or there's no midterms. There's only finals for semester courses. And if you have a 90 or higher, you are exempt from that assessment, regardless of the grade you're in. So we're looking to make some changes with that. It's a lot of logistics and moving parts, because where do kids go, etc. But it's working nicely. And then our girls basketball team was ranked #1 in a top 10 poll recently. So they're having a fabulous season. They have a game tomorrow against Berlin. So those are some updates from the high school.
We know who to get involved in hoopla now. Like,
Right.
Yeah. They can be ringers.
Yeah.
So,
Sharon, anything?
no, I'm good. I'm good. This is an interesting meeting. Thank you all.
I will just say we had a successful but busy, which is why Rick speaks to passing in like 2 ships in the night sometimes. Holiday program, November and December, over 400 households, close to 1,000 individuals, and every aspect of the community, schools, houses of worship, individual residents, everybody contributed, and it was fabulous. And we got so many folks we were able to set the store up outside in bins and shopping carriages, and people were just crying at the generosity of the community. So it was very nice. And then just a reminder that we are bringing, and let me find the name, Unmask the Stash in February. So would love support from the schools in getting the word out on that. And, hopefully it will be virtual, and hopefully we'll get some folks attending and getting new information on both vaping and other paraphernalia.
All right. Good.
Sophia, last call. Okay, anybody wanna? Oh, other business.
Motion to adjourn. Oh,
I forgot
sorry.
other business, I guess. Any other business that we want to add? No public comment. And Sharon,
Motion to adjourn.
Motion seconded.
yay.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, all. I'll send
Thank
an email
you.
about the next meeting.
Thanks, everybody.
Carol, I'll
Thanks,
send you the
everyone.
minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Take
Have a
care.
good night.
Stay safe. Bye.
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 Bye-bye, everyone.